If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my.
I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player Performance with J.A. Cavalier.
What up, D-Gens? Back for another season of the NBA. Guys, it's fucking finally here. Day one NBA Player Performance. I'm with my guy Sharky. I'm with my guy Junior. We're going to be here every day breaking down the NBA for you guys. Of course, free picks, stats, trends, scores, odds, and more. Make sure you guys check out this show every day. And here we are, opening season. You know, it's actually funny, guys. I'm going to get your takes on this as well. So when the season ended, we're in a group chat, the three of us, right? And when the season had ended, you know, I was very strong on the fucking Celtics. We're having arguments back and forth. I won't even call out who was so fucking dug in on the Mavericks. I'll just let sleeping dogs lie. It's a new season, right? And I couldn't wait for the NBA to come to a close. I had a phenomenal season, made a shit ton of money during the course of the season, but it's just such a long season, right? So that first week, it's almost like a breather, right? Like a breath of fresh air. But then every day after that, I'm fucking miserable. And then when it starts late October, it's like, fuck, it's here already. What do you guys feel on? Are you ready for the NBA season? Are your models built out? Are you ready to roll? Do you feel like you're ready for tonight?
Yeah, I mean,
Junior,
I'm always ready because I just live and breathe doing this. There's no days off. I spent the whole off season, watching games, analyzing data, and just trying to figure out the trends so that we could be ahead of the curve for this season. What about you, Sharky?
No, I mean, I think Jay making great points. This is a deceivingly long calendar. People always think baseball. NBA actually has the longest start to finish calendar of any American sport, all the way through mid-June. I think by that point, we're so burned out. Totally refreshed now, I will say. I'm so hyped for it. You were talking about when we get information. Give us a week or two. November 1st for me is really the jump-off point. But truly, I got the hat on. It's going to be a hell of a game tonight. We got two great games. I'm ready to get in there, Jay. Let's talk about it.
Now, I am more excited for the Knicks-Celtics game to watch, but from a betting standpoint, I have to be honest. I do find more value on the Wolves Lakers game. But we're going to dive into it and go through everything. You know, we'll go through these two games. This is probably more so longer of an intro than you guys are ever going to get from us on this show. But that's because we have so much time here. Started the season, all excited for the NBA to kick in. And like I was telling Shark off air, you know, I haven't even really dug in or built in my model yet. I usually do that with a week's worth of actual data, more so than dating back to last year. So we're going to dive right into it. We're going to kick this one off here with the Boston Celtics, New York Knicks. The Celtics are now laying 6. The total is at 222.5. Shark, you're wearing a hat, so we're going to let you kick this one off.
Yeah, I am. And you and I were talking about it off air. I think the natural lean oftentimes in these games is to fade the champs in the ring ceremony game. But I was really starting to look at it, and I went back the last 5 years. These home champion ring ceremony games actually are 4-1 ATS to the champs in the last 5. So this is not just a tank zone. I think it's much more spot-specific psychology for what team you're actually playing, and that is the Celtics. And I think a key point here with the Celtics, Joe Mazzulla may be an underrated psychological coach. I had kind of dogged this guy for a couple seasons. I really liked Udoka. I thought that was unfortunate. But Mazzulla is a West Virginia guy. He played under Bob Huggins. He was a point guard. He's a dog. He has a great mentality about him. And the team really does follow that. And he had some great quotes in the press conference the other day about how they're not feeling any pressure. It's a new journey. I think they're going to get into a fluid point right off the bat. And I think this is actually a really good psychological spot to fade the Knicks, who have a new roster group. Move Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. Insert Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns is a good person, but he is enigmatic. Big personality, complains. I was listening to a clip just earlier when he scored 62 points last year or the year before, and they lost outright to the Spurs. The guy's kind of all over the place. This is the best Knicks team in 30 years, elite starting lineup. But I think it's going to take some time to get into a fluid point, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And just zooming in on this matchup very briefly, these teams did play 5 times last year, including 1 in the in-season tournament. Boston 4-1 straight up in ATS. When Boston wants to turn up against the Knicks, they can. Margin wins were there. And I think very specifically, Boston did lose the last game to New York in the spring. And this is a revenge game on a heavier number. Out of the matchups last year, there were two environments where books moved the line towards Boston in strength from the previous game. And in those games, Boston did win by 15 points outright and 7.5 points against the spread. I think Boston gets their flow. The energy will be huge here in Boston tonight. Take Boston at -5.5. It's 6 now, Intelligent Steam. And let's cash this one.
Great breakdown, as always. You're wrong, but I mean, good breakdown. I'm on the Knicks. And for me, again, the NBA is all about spots and situations, right? We've seen the Celtics come in with hunger in years prior and then usually falter down the stretch, right? Like that's what we're used to with the Boston Celtics. Last year, of course, being the only year that the pair of Tatum and Brown were able to finish. And that was pretty much only due to the insert of Drew Holiday. I don't even give a fuck about Porzingis. Porzingis did nothing. It wasn't even available down the stretch of the season, right? That was the field general, the court general holding it together. I just see this as a much bigger game for the New York Knicks, a proverbial measuring stick, if you will, right? Like, so what do you think? The Celtics are going to come in here because they're raising banners, going to want to flex on the Eastern Conference? Been there, done that. They don't need to repeat that here. But the New York Knicks, now after the way they lost, after the big trade, after the kickback on the big trade, because this is the key for the Knicks, right? DiVincenzo's loss is going to be much bigger than the Randall loss. That's 100,000%. What he did down the stretch, I mean, Randall, again, wasn't there. But DiVincenzo means more to this Knicks team. I think Cat is a great filler against the Celtics in this spot, especially with filling in and going up against what in the fuck is center. Who do you have that's going to stop or even contain Cat with Porzingis out? Don't forget one thing. The Celtics lineup is still extremely small. Like, yeah, they have the wings all across the board, but you have one big man of any concern whatsoever. That would have been Porzingis. With Porzingis out tonight, who stops Cat? Cat's going to eat. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to lean New York Knicks plus the 6 points. I just think the spot favors them. I actually like Cat, and I don't like Cat at all, but I like him in this spot for 2+3s in this game. Junior, you have any opinion on this at all?
No, I'm going to give you guys a cliche that I always use. If I have more questions than answers about a game, I got to stay away. I liked Shark's stat about the ATS ring night thing, though, because I would have assumed it was the opposite. That the team, coming in with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder versus the guys who rubbing their belly from their big meal they just had. But there's kind of no way to know what the Celtics atmosphere is going to be like, because I think that this is not your run-of-the-mill championship team in the sense that they've been on this journey for like 6 or 7 years, and they finally got to that point or reached their goal. I think that there might be an extra sense of relief and a more of like, this game we don't need to win by margin. Now, I'm not saying that that's how they're going to approach it, but I just feel like the building would not lose any energy if the Knicks are losing, because it's just going to be a big party. So I say all of that to say, I don't know what the Knicks are yet. Moving pieces. We heard Josh Hart in the preseason say, I don't know what my role is. Am I starting? Am I coming off the bench? So I don't know enough about either team. That's why, for me, it's a stay away.
The last thing I'm going to worry about is Josh Hart. As soon as he hits court, he's going to establish his role, right? All right, we're moving on here. We have the Minnesota Timberwolves, the LA Lakers. They're traveling to the Lakers. The line here is the T-Wolves on the road laying 1. The total in this game is also at 222.5. Now, Junior, you have a play in this one. Actually, you have a ticket in pocket. Who's down that ticket?
Yeah, over at BetUS.com, this game is available at 111.5, which is the number that I got it at. And the reason I like that play is I don't want to just blindly assume that the Wolves are going to come in, pick up where they left off, and just run the Lakers out of the building, which is what you would think would happen if this game was played last season. I think that a big mistake that we make as bettors sometimes is we remember the last thing we saw, which was the finals. And if you just look at all the major professional sports, probably other than baseball, The NBA is literally two completely different seasons. When I look at the Knicks, for example, in the last game, the playoff Knicks are what are in my mind, but the playoff Knicks were not the regular season Knicks. So I think it's kind of a question of that in this situation where I don't want to assume Minnesota is still playoff Minnesota and just blindly take them in this game. I do think that I'm getting the better team at a short line if I were to get involved in the spread, but I just think the total is a lot safer because the one thing I know about this Lakers team is that they can't defend. They showed us that all season last year and in the playoffs when they got bounced. I think Ant is now possibly the leading scorer in the league with no Cat to get in his way is the play for me. And 111.5 seems a tad short. I think they probably get closer to about 115.
Tell them the exact number, the exact play as it is on the ticket.
Say that again?
Tell them the exact play as it is on your ticket.
Yeah, Minnesota team total over 111.5.
All right, now is Davis in or out for this game?
He's in.
Okay, because
I
saw
just
last
checked the
night
injury report right before we went live. So
all right, I saw last night he was a GTD, a nice little Q tag to start the season. Now I'm going to give you guys a lock. This is a future for the NBA, and I don't know that you can actually find it anywhere. Maybe Bet US will put it up for us. 80% of all Lakers games, you will have one or the other, and probably both on the fucking injury report, LeBron James and Anthony Davis all season. So let the games begin, and the game, of course, is going to be the NBA injury report game as we play every NBA season. Actually, kind of surprised that it's so clean today, but I guess they did have about fucking 5 months to prepare for it, right?
yeah,
It makes your handicap just so difficult. You're waiting around to 5:30, 6 o'clock, and sometimes 10, 15 minutes prior to tip before you're getting a clear-cut answer on who's in and who's out.
I mean, just a side note. I just had a conversation with some homeboys of mine that I've been in a fantasy keeper league in with the last 13 years, and we're talking about changing the rules because it affects your ability to make a fantasy lineup. So bettors, fantasy players, everybody gets affected by this. Fans, if you bought a ticket, you don't even know who's going to play. It's a bit ridiculous.
Well, you guys know my stance on fantasy sports. But Shark, what do you feel about this? How difficult does it make your handicap going into the NBA?
Oh, it's incredibly difficult. And, the psychological dynamics are all over the place because the other side of it is this phenomenon that's been created over this last 5-year window where, the best players sit out. All of a sudden you want to buy that team as an underdog. And the backup players play for contracts, exposure, whatever you want to call it. So there's all sorts of counter dynamics psychologically. Just briefly on the Minnesota game, I thought it was interesting that we got both players in the Towns trade playing tonight. And as I said, I didn't really like the moving parts for the Knicks. Now you get this Minnesota team. Anthony Edwards is only 23 years old. This is his team now, 110%. But he's got to integrate with Julius Randle, who's kind of notoriously all over the place psychologically as well. If you guys remember him at Madison Square Garden, kind of like booing back the fans, a little that thumbs down thing to the fans. Like, this guy's a little heady. So I think that could take some time to integrate there as well. And, obviously LeBron James tonight playing with his son, the first time in NBA history. I think that's going to be a great storyline. I don't think Bronny James is really going to have much impact on the game. I think it's more of a media sensationalized story there. I wouldn't totally disagree with Junior. I think the defense might be devoid in this game tonight. Minnesota was 3-1 straight up last year against the Lakers, 2-2 ATS. Did win the last one on April 7th. At crypto.com by 10. Very similar line here. I think Minnesota probably does get the dub tonight, but I think it could be pretty close.
Hey, Jay,
listen, I'm not going to lie. I think drafting Bronny is a waste of a roster spot. I'm still going to dig in on that. Well, obviously, we all know what LeBron's holdout was or all the news circulating about he might not sign or might not come back for another year, and then magically they fucking draft Bronny. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all know what was going on there in L.A. Actually, the most exciting player for me, at least, like the person I'm looking to see where he is this year is Terrence Shannon Jr. I want to see how he plays with Anthony Edwards. And you can't tell me that move wasn't more of a statement that this is Ant's fucking team. Cat's out, Ant's, and now, what's that?
That's exactly what it was. And I like that shout out because Terrence looked like the most NBA ready player to me when he was at Illinois. He looked like an NBA body and he could score in all three levels.
He basically looked like Edwards did coming out of Georgia.
Similar, less athletic, but yeah.
Yeah. I listen, if all that doesn't happen with his case, and I'm not going to, bring up old shit on the kid, you're not going to tell me he's not a top 3 pick. He's definitely top 3 talent. Probably the purest scorer at the college league, coming in. So him paired up with Ant, and like we Junior and I said, definitely a power move. And Edwards, it's his team now. And Julius Randle, throughout his career, has always been able to play second fiddle. Actually, it's a role he's better in and more prepared for. I don't think he likes the spotlight. Certainly didn't like the big spotlight in New York. Actually, Minnesota, a little bit more giving, of course. But guys, that's it for us today. So far locked in on the show on plays. We have Shark. He is locked in on the Boston Celtics. He caught it at 5. Shark, you're good with it at 6 as well, correct?
Yes. 5 obviously preferential, but 6 should be fine. Officially on 6 for the show.
I lean New York, but I actually have a bigger play on Julius Randle. KT's over to 1.5 threes, so it's 2 plus threes. You can find that at most books. You can Junior. You probably don't know what the numbers are on BetUS. Junior is locked in on the T-Wolves team total. Guys, 3 plays from you, actually 4 plays for you here. You're going to have to make the decision based upon the Celtics Knicks for yourselves. I would personally lean Shark if I were you guys. I'm bigger on the over 2 threes for my than I am on the Knicks themselves. That's more of a game of watch. I am, however, dug in on a big play on the Timberwolves Lakers game. You guys can find the link in the description below. We're going to be back here every day. It's going to be a much cleaner show moving forward. We'll have a much better flow. Actually, just trying to kill time to get this close to 20 minutes for the first show. But we'll have everything lined up, ready for you guys, giving you all the information you need to beat the books in the NBA. That's it for day 1. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Any closing words from you guys?
Check me out on social media. I'm trying to get as active as my boy Sharky. So I'll be active every day creating content over here at the BetUS studio. But love working with y'all, talking basketball. Let's get this money.
Sharky.
Yeah. No, we appreciate people who are going to follow us. We're going to have a great show here, a lot of conversation, great plays. Bigger card tomorrow. Obviously, this is the jump-off point, but it is a gauntlet, as we mentioned throughout the show. This is about 8 months, and I'm ready for it, and I think we all are ready for it. As I like to say, it is an opportunity to dominate. Hope everybody has a great night. Let's cash these tickets. Jay, close them out, and let's go.
Yeah, this is day 1. The car's just kind of warming up, right? Like the car's just outside warming up. For those of you who lived in New York, I know Sharky, you're also from New York. You know exactly what I mean when it comes to November, December weather. So, all right, guys, that's it for us. I am J.A. Cavalier. He is the Shark, Junior Brown. This has been Player Performance NBA. We will see you guys back here tomorrow as we break down the entire NBA card.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my arm.